The next general hazard topic we'd like to discuss is toxic substance exposure. Any substance that impairs health or destroys life when ingested, inhaled, injected, or absorbed can be defined as a toxic substance. The hazards to an individual are related to how long they've been exposed, combined with how toxic the substance is to the human body. Classes of agrochemicals are fuels, solvents, fertilizers, grow regulators, veterinary supplies, pesticides, cleaners, and desiccants. Fuels are a class of agrochemicals. If spilled on clothing, fuel can soak through to your skin. Fuels are an explosive hazard if working near flame or sparks. Solvents are a class of agrochemicals used for degreasing equipment. If used without gloves, can break down the skin. Fertilizers are a class of agrochemicals used to supply plants with nutrients needed for growth. Chemical fertilizers are available in a variety of forms. Dry fertilizer is hygroscopic, meaning it attracts moisture. It can draw water out of the skin, causing skin burns, and can also irritate mouth, nose, eyes, and scalp. To prevent irritation and burning by dry fertilizer, keep it off of your skin by wearing a long-sleeved shirt, buttoned at the collar, and a hat. Stand upwind when filling hoppers. Let the wind blow the dust away from you. In the field, drive crosswind if possible, so fertilizer dust is blown off to one side. Anhydrous ammonia is pure ammonia. Anhydrous means without water, and it's widely used as a nitrogen fertilizer. Ammonia is a colored gas, but under pressure it changes into a liquid. Agricultural ammonia is used in this liquid form. When it's injected into the soil, the liquid ammonia expands into a gas and is absorbed by the soil moisture. Escaping anhydrous ammonia forms a cloud when it combines with moisture in the air. Anhydrous ammonia injures human tissue by freezing. Also, because it's a strong alkali, it can cause painful skin burns and damage to the eyes and respiratory tract. Only trained individuals wearing personal protection should handle and apply anhydrous ammonia. Growth regulators are a class of agrochemicals. In crop production, growth regulators are used to stop stalk growth prior to heading time and to decrease crop loss from lodging. Veterinary supplies are a class of agrochemicals. Some substances, such as growth regulators and antibiotics, are meant to be injected. Others are used as dips or powders to rid animals of external pests. The most common type of injury is operator's self-injection. Cleaners and sanitizers are a class of agrochemicals used in dairy, beef, and pork operations. Pesticides are a class of agrochemicals. Pesticides have a number of subclasses. Herbicides are used to control weeds. Insecticides are used to control grasshoppers and moths and other bugs. Many insecticides work by affecting the central nervous system of insects. This mechanism of action makes humans more vulnerable to these chemicals. Fungicides are used to control fungus. Rodenticides are used to control rats, mice, and gophers. Desiccants are a class of agrochemicals. Used to stop plant growth prior to harvest, are hazardous to the human respiratory system, can cause chemical burns on the skin. Why should we be concerned about exposure to these agrochemicals? What effects can they have on the body? In the short term, exposure can cause dizziness, skin burns, eye damage, vision and balance problems, trouble breathing, tremors, nausea, diarrhea. In the long term, exposure can cause sterility, the ability to have children, birth defects, genetic mutations, cancer. Chemicals are only dangerous to us when they enter our bodies. How can this happen? Absorption, inhalation, ingestion, injection. Absorption is one way chemicals can enter the body, through skin, eyes, or ears. Surface blood vessels pick up chemicals and transport them through the bloodstream to the entire body. Some of our body's surfaces absorb very efficiently. Our head, underarms, and groin are thin-skinned and well supplied with blood vessels. They produce sweat and oil that dissolve chemicals and speed their absorption into the body. Layers of clothing are always best in preventing chemicals from penetrating to the skin. Any clothes worn while mixing or spraying should be washed through 2 or 3 cycles in hot water at the end of each day. Chemicals easily penetrate baseball caps, leather or cloth gloves, leather belts, and leather boots. None of these items can be adequately cleaned to remove all traces of chemical, so they should not be worn when mixing or spraying. Soft contact lenses should not be worn when mixing or spraying chemicals. Lenses can absorb splashes and can also absorb chemical fumes or vapors. While working with an agrochemical, always wear goggles or a face shield to protect eyes from splashes and spills. The eyes will absorb 100% of splashed chemical. A chemical-resistant apron to protect the vulnerable groin area from splashes and spills. The groin area will absorb 100% of splashed or spilled chemical. Earmuffs to protect the ear canal from splashes and spills. The ear canal will absorb over 45% of splashed chemical. A water-resistant hat to protect the head and scalp. The scalp will absorb 32% of splashed chemical. Knee-length, unlined rubber boots to protect your legs and feet from splashed and spilled chemical. Feet will absorb 14% of splashed or spilled chemical. Coverall pant legs should be outside of the boots to prevent splashes and spills from entering the boot. Unlined rubber or neoprene gloves to protect hands from splashed or spilled chemical. Hands will absorb 12% of spilled or splashed chemical. Sleeves should be pulled over the top of gloves to prevent splashes and spills from entering. Inhalation is another way chemicals can enter the body. Breathing in dusts, powders, gases, mists, or fumes. Whatever we inhale into our lungs passes quickly into our bloodstream. The lungs are the site of normal blood-air exchange. Wearing the appropriate type of respirator is key when facing airborne hazards. A respirator is any device designed to provide protection against the inhalation of a hazardous substance. Respirators can be categorized into 2 classes: air-purifying respirators, atmosphere-supplying respirators. Several types of air-purifying respirators are available. Disposable dust masks protect workers from non-toxic dusts, such as dust in a pig or poultry barn. They're not effective against toxic gases or vapors. Different types are available, so choose the type that will provide the filtering ability needed for the situation. The second type, reusable dust and mist masks, are used to protect workers from dust and mists. They operate like disposable masks, but the filters are replaceable. They are not effective against toxic gases or vapors. These respirators are ideal for workers who often require protection from dusty or misty conditions. The third type, chemical cartridge respirators, are normally used to protect workers from toxic gases, fumes, and vapors. These masks have replaceable chemical cartridges that contain charcoal or other substances that absorb gases and vapors. Particulate pre-filters may also be attached to the cartridge to protect workers from both dust and gases. When using chemical cartridge respirators, remember, choose the type of cartridge designed for the specific hazard faced. Set up a schedule for replacement of cartridges. Follow manufacturer's instructions for replacing cartridges. Make sure the mask fits the user properly. The fourth type. Gas masks have canisters containing a larger volume of chemical sorbent than cartridge-type respirators. Gas mask respirators can be used for longer periods and in higher concentrations of gases and vapors than chemical cartridge respirators. When using gas mask respirators, remember, choose the type of canister designed for the specific hazard faced. Set up a schedule for replacement of canisters. Follow manufacturer's instructions for replacing canisters. Make sure the mask fits the user properly. Atmosphere supplying respirators are for use in oxygen deficient environments like silos, manure pits, or bins containing high moisture grain. They come in two types. Supplied air respirators, SAR, are the first type and are available as a hose mask with a blower or with an emergency air supply. Self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA, are the second type and offer the best protection to workers entering oxygen-deficient areas. SCBAs have the advantage of an independent supply of breathable air. When using an atmosphere-supplying respirator, remember, wearing a respirator incorrectly is as dangerous as not wearing one at all. If there's not a tight seal around the nose and mouth, hazardous material will leak through the seal. Have the respirator fitted to the wearer. Check to see that the respirator has been approved by NIOSH or the CSA. Training is essential for the proper use of these respirators. Follow the manufacturer's instructions and maintain the respirator carefully and regularly. Remember, in oxygen-deficient situations like manure pits and silos, a person can die within a few seconds. So a properly fitted and maintained respirator could save your life.